Hey everybody, Nerd Transformed here again, and today I'm reviewing the Transformers Platinum Edition Autobot Heroes Later Class Ultra Magnus. Now this is basically just the Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus, just with new paint. The Autobot Heroes set, if you were wondering, does come with a Springer, Ultra Magnus, RC, Cup, and Blur. All the Blur and Cup are not new Titan Returns versions, they are just the older generations versions. But here we do have Ultra Magnus in a much more G1 colored paint scheme. He does come with all the same things. He does come with a Minimus Ambus. He does come with his rocket launchers. And he does come with the same two guns, as you can see. The main thing I'm going to be covering here is just the differences between it and the Combiner Wars version, which I'll show right here in a second. We're going to start with Minimus Ambus here. This is the Platinum Edition version. Here's the Combiner Wars version. You can see vehicle mode, they're basically the same, except the green on here is a bit of a deeper green. And I'm not sure if it's going to come off on camera, it is a little bit. But the original Minimus Ambus from Combiner Wars here was more of a beige-ish white, while here it's more of a painted white, a much brighter white. And the back fin is painted green, so it gives it a bit more detail. So yeah, there are differences between these two. They could just kind of show you this. Here's the Platinum Edition rocket pack, and here's the Combiner Wars rocket pack. The red paint is basically the same, but the white is a bit different. Same thing with Minimus, as it was with Minimus Ambus, where this is more of a beige white, like a slight hint of beige. Well, this is a deep bright white, as you can see. Not sure how well it comes off on camera, but basically the whole figure is like that, where the Platinum Edition has a much deeper, more bright white, while the original Combiner Wars version has more of that beige white. As for the guns, I think they're pretty much the same. Here's the Combiner Wars version on the right, here's the Platinum Edition. No, the Platinum Edition is kind of more of a gray. The original is more of a black, while the Combiner Wars version is more of a gray, interestingly enough. Same goes for this gun as well, it's more of a gray. But, you know, weapons do store on him the exact same way. You can take the guns, put them in the back. I do have one issue with this figure so far in vehicle mode, and that's this back part does not clip in quite right. These two pieces don't clip together quite right. They don't stay in their tabs quite right, so they are a little floppy. But to go ahead and get a direct comparison side by side out of the way, here he is next to the Combiner Wars version, which is where you can kind of see a lot more differences. As I mentioned, the white's a bit darker and deeper. One difference you also notice is that the cab on the Platinum Edition has a blue streak instead of a silver streak. And the back of the cab is now blue instead. And also the wheels are all painted, unlike the Combiner Wars version. The overall color scheme is basically the same, just deeper reds and blues. You might still notice on the middle parts here, it's white on this version, while it's blue on this one for the middle section. The arm parts back here do have more of a shiny blue, more of a chromed out blue. The same blue that's used on the chest plate that we'll see later. And along the back, these are actually these on the original Combiner Wars version, they were white with silver and red paint. Here they're actually blue painted with white, silver, and red. So you actually have like blue kneecaps here on the sides, which do look a bit better in robot mode. So there are a lot of little paint differences. The overall paint schemes are pretty much the same, even the color schemes for the most part. Just better colorings for Ultra Magnus here. But I did want to give you a side-by-side shot just to show you the differences between the original Combiner Wars version and the Platinum Edition version. But yeah, overall, it's the same detailing. I mean, you got the little ladders on the side here. Oh, on the original, if you looked, the Combiner Wars version did not have the ladders painted. Here, they're actually painted silver. In fact, the rim around the wheel is actually, not just the rim, but the piece around above the wheel is actually painted in silver as well. So there are some more paint taps than the original, which is nice. And the overall color scheme is just a lot better. The blues just work a lot better. I will not be showing the transformation since it's exactly the same as the original, and if you want to see the transformation for this guy, go watch my Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus review. There's still nowhere to put Minimus Ambus unless you want to put him up there. I do want to show you this real quick. If you say take Cup, you can fit him on the top. Also, this set's only $70, so 5 Transformers for $70 is actually a really good deal. And I have managed to fit Blur on the inside part here, so you actually already have a little bit of playability in vehicle modes for these guys. And I guess you can also count that as your comparison with Cup for size. So, let's get into robot mode. Alright, so now we got Platinum Edition Ultra Magnus in robot mode. Let's go ahead and get the comparison out of the way with his Combining Wars counterpart. Or maybe we should start with Minimus Ambus here. With Minimus Ambus, much like in vehicle mode, he is using a darker green, as you can see. And they are also, there is actually more paint, much like in vehicle. His face is a bit different though, I'm not sure you're going to be able to see this, but on the original his eyes were a bit bigger and wider, while here we got like little tiny specks for eyes, making him look much meaner. The beard is a little bit smudged, but there is much more paint, as in the original, we just had a streak going down like a tie and a little bit around the neck. Here we got the actual entire chest plate covered, all the way down with some dark and brighter green, as well as a little speck for the belt, so for his belt buckle. So Minimus does come out with a bit more paint. For the Ultra Magnuses, now the original Ultra Magnus was pretty good. He did have a lighter shade of blue that was similar to the toy, but not quite that bright, but not quite as dark as the cartoon, about somewhere in the middle, which I guess would please both fans of both colors. And it looks fine for the most part. The video is kind of showing us a slightly darker shade of blue than it actually is. It's kind of showing what shade that the actual Platinum Edition is, but for Platinum Edition you can see they kind of went more for the cartoon accurate Masterpiece style colors. That's the main difference. As I mentioned before, the white is more of a bright white than the beige that the Combining Wars version used. The plastic all has this like slightly painted appearance almost, even the big white parts. As far as paint differences go, the chest plate is pretty much the same. The only main difference is that on the Combining Wars version we have black on these little chest cavities, while here we have a slightly lighter shade of blue. And the chest plate itself is done in a shiny chromy blue, much like the arms are here. So that is different. The heads are basically the same, just darker blue for the head and for the actual helmet, and then I think the glasses, or his glasses, or his eyes are kind of a slightly darker shade maybe. The backpacks are different colors because of course on the Platinum Edition is blue instead of white. But the only differences I've seen are besides the colors themselves, as far as the actual paint color differences, is the chest plate has a little bit of blue instead of black. The codpiece actually got some blue around the white circle instead of just plain white on the Combining Wars one. And around the kneecaps are painted blue instead. It does make, standing next to the Platinum Edition, it does make the Combining Wars one look a little bit naked by comparison because it doesn't have nearly as much paint. And it's not that it actually added that much more, it's just that it added just enough to break up all that white. While looking at the original, it does feel like there's a little bit too much white. So it kind of helps break that up a lot more. Same with Minimus actually, it kind of just helps break up that color a little bit better. He can still hold his weapons just fine, of course. You do have these handles. You can still combine it together to make the giant war hammer of Doom, the giant war hammer that Ultra Magnus has been getting lately. Pretty much that's like a tribute to animated. You know, open up his hand, and you can hold it. So yeah, you can have him hold that. You can of course also hold the guns by the handles, and there are some peg holes down here. So you can of course peg these back into the shoulders. These are actually a little bit looser. The peg connections are a little bit looser than the Combining Wars version, but that's probably just because of the mold reuse. And they actually do have little triggers molded into the guns, with little trigger fingers slightly pointed out for Ultra Magnus, so you can have him looking like he's ready to fire it. Or, like I do with this gun, since I don't like displaying it really, you can peg it to either the bottom of the foot here, or you can peg it back towards the top up here. Like so. So you can have that going. And of course, much like the original, you can bring the chest plate down, open up the cab where the head is. Well, you might have to move the head back. Open up, and you do have the little control panel area for Minimus to sit. And it's also done in this glossy light, much like the rest of the figure, which is pretty nice. But he can sit in there just like the original. Kind of fill in that gap you have around the Ultra Magnus head from it. Just have him sitting there, close up the cab doors, flip the chest plate, flip Ultra Magnus head down over it, so you have the IDW style Ultra Magnus. But this still works great for a Generations Classic / Universe, the Chug Ultra Magnus. It still works great for that, and I do kind of prefer the color scheme overall more than the Combiner Wars one. In fact, I've already sold my Combiner Wars one on eBay. That's why I went ahead and did this review now, so that way I can go ahead and show it before I lose that one or send that one off. Sorry, I had a sneeze there. Another difference is on the Combiner Wars one, the headlights are more of an orange, while here they're more of a yellow. I'm going to show that real quick since I was bringing it up, but yeah, like I said, the overall color scheme is basically the same, just better colors were chosen, I guess you could say, and I do like the shiny blue they use. It does look very good. You see his joints are a little loose, but the Combiner Wars one kind of blows like that too with the ratchets. And since we got him here, his gun fell out of his hand. We'll go ahead and show the articulation. He does have the same articulation as a swivel at the head. It goes back and forth. It only goes this far to the right, this far to the left. You do get a soft ratchet slope for the shoulder. The panels do move up out of the way for the outward arm movement, which is also ratcheted. We do get a swivel below arm, ratcheted elbow that goes 90 degrees, not quite invisible elbows. No hand movement, but the fingers all do move as one big hinge, so it's more than Jetfire had. No waist movement still, unfortunately, but you do get outward ratchet hips. You get forward ratchet hips are a lot louder. You do get swivel, you get knee ratchet, and the foot is still on a double hinge, so you can still use that for whatever you wish. You can do it for stepping forward poses, like so. So you can get some posability out of him for being a big guy, and it's pretty nice. I do think he came out better than the later Jetfire we got back during Thrilling 30. And having him in this paint scheme does help a lot. Breaks up a lot of that white colors he had that was a little overwhelming in the original, and gives him the proper deep blue that he deserves. So overall, I would recommend the Platinum Edition and Ultra Magnus. You can get him for about the whole set for about $70 on eBay or on Amazon. And considering on eBay, this guy alone goes for about $35 to $40. I would say just put in extra money and just get extra figures. And if you don't like any of them, sell the rest. Trust me, this Magnus alone is pretty much worth it. So, this has been Nerd Transformed. I hope you enjoyed this review, and hope you have a good day. Take care.